That's correct, Counsel.
Yes.
But must emphasize the point. Panel was selected at the Crime Intelligence Office. Panel was selected by him. It was not approved by him.
Yes.
So let's get that clear.
Yes.
The panel was selected by General Khumalo, sent to approval for head office, because he cannot sit or have those panels without approval. Head office must approve it. So that's basically the standard procedure. You nominate who you want on your panel and send it to head office. But the emphasis on the panel was selected by General Khumalo he recommended it for approval to head office.
Can I just ask, Colonel, that it was recommended by General Khumalo, is that not in accordance with SAPS protocols that he, as the head of crime intelligence, would constitute or recommend a panel?
Yes.
You accept that to be? I don't know it to be the position. I'm asking you because you've done the investigation. Is the constitution or the recommendation of a list by General Khumalo, who is the head of crime intelligence, is that contrary to SAPS prescripts?
No, it's not. It's as I explained, it's normal. You're the head of office, you select the panel. These are the people on the panel, and it goes to head office for election. It's normal.
So we can't make anything of that fact alone. You can't just say, as you were doing yesterday, you can't just say, it seems to me, you can't just say he constituted the panel, therefore, or he recommended the panel, therefore, that's a sign of capture. The people that he constituted it means it's an indicator, rather, of a plan to capture crime intelligence. It doesn't go that far. If the prescript allows him to recommend a panel, there's nothing wrong with that.
If the prescripts allows him, yes, Commissioner.
And
that's
you
my
say,
answer.
and you accept that the prescript allowed him to do that?
Yes, the prescripts gives him that authority to choose that panel and then send it for approval. And I think that is more or less what I meant yesterday. Not that he approved his own panel and carried on. That panel had to be approved by head office. Thank you.
Can I just check this for clarification also? In that A1, it refers to an information note by the Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection on 14 May 2024. So who would that be at the time? It wasn't General Khumalo.
The Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection
would be Sibia, would be General Sibia.
Would be Sibia, under which the Division Crime Intelligence reports.
Yes.
So basically, General Khumalo would have selected his panels.
Yes.
And then it would have went to Deputy National Commissioner Sibia to sign off, and the approval comes from the head office. That's the TRA.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. And if we could just run forward then to page 453 under CJC 371.3. Starting at page 419.371.1, that now is the pack for the recruitment process in 2022. And just to compare with the approval process that we've just discussed, this is what transpired in 2022. And in 2022, we see once again, it's the same. And at item 2, its approval is granted for the following selection panels. Now, if you flip through that document to the end, if I did not mention, I forget if I did, but this is dated 2023, my mistake. This is for the 2023 process. At 457, it's signed by Ntia, Lieutenant General, Acting Deputy National Commissioner Support Services. And this particular one now had a litany of panels. So if you start at page 453, it's different panels all the way to that last page.
Pardon me, Chair.
Yeah.
I forgot to switch it off. Apologies. Thank you.
Thank you. We were at page 453. These are now the panels during the 2023 recruitment process or cycle. And it's got a litany of posts with different members constituting different panels. My interest lies at 454, page 454. that post 2302-3462 highlighted in yellow, that's what I call our post. And in 2023, that was the panel that was approved, led by General Kumalo, members General Lushaba, General Mulajana, yes, I am correct, and General Khan. And so the 2022 as well has got a list of approved panel members. So this seems to be the usual process that panels are put to some authority who decides whether or not the proposed panel is approved or not.
That's correct.
And the same process was followed in 2024, resulting in the appointment of Mrs. Mukwele. So would you agree that insofar as the issue of panel and constitution of panel that appointed Mrs. Mukwele, there is no concern there? Is there still a concern about that particular panel?
On the particular panel that we had concerns with,
Yes.
and as we know that General Kumalo can only put up a recommendation that these are the panel members, and its head office approves it.
Yes.
But when we look at the panel of Mukwele, we had concerns there because he selected those people, although he didn't approve him, those panel members, all right? But you can see from the recommendations of the panels that sent to head office for approval, those recommendations hardly change. If we look at all three of the advertisements and the recommendations from head office or the approval, nobody was removed from the panel and said, no, don't put this one, put that one. So that's the only thing, that's only comment I have there, if you understand me, Commissioner.
I'm trying to understand because I wanted to clarify whether or not the constitution of the panel that appointed Mrs. Mukwele is an issue. Is there an issue as regards its legitimacy, that panel? Because I thought we had just established, because it was approved by seemingly the person who is mandated or empowered by SAPS to approve such. Once approved by that person, then there can be an issue about the panel unless the challenge is to the approval itself by the higher authority. But that doesn't seem to be your case. Yesterday, your challenge was to the constitution of the panel, and I just wanted to clarify that now that it's approved by, I think it's General Nkhoa this one time, is that a properly constituted panel, or are there still concerns that the commissioners should have regard to?
The panel is approved by head office.
Yes.
There's nothing more you can say about it.
Yes.
It's approved by head office. So when I say it's approved by head office, it means it's authorized. So the point that I wanted to make yesterday is that the panel was selected by, although it was not approved by him because he could not approve it, it was selected by him. It went to head office, it was approved. So that is an approved panel. That's it.
You said something about the panel not changing. I think you started that. You said, well, yeah, it was approved, but if you look at the three different panels constituted, they never change, and then you stopped at but. I think there's a point you wanted to make about the changes to the panel over time. Maybe you should make that point.
Yes. When we look at the selection, or let's look at the three sets of advertisements where the panels that are recommended to head office to approve. The recommendations that's sent, they all were approved without any changes. So it flows through. So your recommendation that you sent, that's the panel, head office approves it. So not one of those three was it not approved. That's the point I want to take. So normally to reach out, meaning that the recommendation that you make, it is very rare that head office is going to change it. Put it that way. Taking it from the three, you can see the pattern that is not changed. So that is just what I want to say.
But you're not saying that's a problem of General Kumalo?
It's not a problem because it's approved by head office. Okay. Unless, there's something else there. So let's take it as the panel is approved by head office. It's an approved panel.
Yes. Okay.
Colonel, in your affidavit where you applied for warrants of arrest, you took issue with the constitution of the panel. IDAC inserted itself in the panel process, and IDAC said, why was Khan not put in the panel? Why was so-and-so put in the panel and not General Khan? Why does IDAC have that difficulty? Why is it IDAC's business who should or should not be in the panel that interviews at crime intelligence? Why is it IDAC's business?
Can I respond, Chair? Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioner. Sorry, Commissioner, I thought you were raising your hand. We are charged with an investigation. And we draw that inference from the investigation that we're charged with. So when you look at the panel is recommended by Khumalo, it's chosen by him there, although he does, that's what we are speaking to. The panel is not chosen by anybody else at that office, like who can we say?
No, we know who
Yes,
chose it. Just
he chose the
what
panel.
The problem is,
so
yes.
what we are saying there is that he chose that particular panel and sent it for recommendation, and it was approved. And the issue we have there with it is that there was other crime intelligence generals that he could have used to sit on the panel, because it's a sensitive crime intelligence post. It's a covert post.
But
and
is that not for General Nkua and General Sibia to say, I'm not happy with this panel or I'm happy with it? If they are happy with it and they approve it, what business is it of IDAC to say we would have preferred Khan there and not that person? Why does IDAC involve itself in those things? IDAC does not constitute panels that interview candidates in crime intelligence. Why does IDAC go to court and say to court, I want warrants of arrest issued because I'm not happy that in that panel that general was there and General Khan was not there? Why is it the business of IDAC?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioner. The panel was one of many reasons, many causes in the application. It's not just only the panel.
Let's talk about the panel.
Yes.
No, don't discuss the others. Commissioner Khumalo is raising specifically the constitution of the panel, and that in your application for a warrant, it was important enough, and in your charge sheet, it was important enough that you mention it, that one of the problems or one of the issues is that they didn't include other generals, and you specify General Khan. You don't mention anyone else. You said like General Khan, and the question remains, why does it matter to IDAC? What business of IDAC is it that SAPS senior managers have approved the constitution of this panel? Where do you come in as IDAC?
Chair, Commissioners, this is the response that I can give to it. It follows through from my investigation, although I am saying the panel has been approved by head office, but the recommendation of that particular panel started with General Khumalo. So it's one of the inferences drawn from the...
How can you draw an inference when the prescripts give him the power to constitute a panel? What inference can you ever draw from the constitution of a panel? If the prescript says the power lies with Khumalo to constitute his panel, what inference is there to draw when he does exactly that which the prescript does? And in this case, you're not drawing an inference of anything. There are no facts on which you draw an inference that is problematic.
Yes.
You actually say, well, he should not have included, I think it's Gabela, he should have put in other crime intelligence officers. Yes. For example, General Khan, quite interestingly, you say, for example, General Khan. The question is, what does IDAC care that General Khumalo has recommended a panel, which his superior, General Sibia, has approved, and you don't arrest General Sibia for approving. General Nkua approves. You do not arrest them. You don't include them in your list of the people who did wrong about constituting the panel. The bottom line is, why is it IDAC's business when General Khumalo constitutes a panel that he is allowed to do by the prescript, which doesn't say it must be constituted by people from crime intelligence? It doesn't. So you make up your law or your rules or your policy and say there should have been only people from crime intelligence because that's a sensitive area. What's your standing to prescribe that? And I would like you to answer that question. Commissioner Khumalo asked the question, what is your business in how SAPS prescripts, because this is provided by prescript, in what SAPS prescripts allow, and in this case was complied with, superiors approved. What is IDAC's business and interest in constituting SAPS panels? You can answer if you have an answer.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioners.
Colonel, if I may, Commissioner, perhaps let's go to the charge sheet and see how you had expressed yourself in that charge sheet in the context of this question. If we could go to file 6, if we are not already, file 6. We dealt from page 2373. That is your affidavit in support of an application for a warrant of arrest.
Page again, I'm sorry.
2373. And that affidavit in support of that application for warrant of arrest, you do make a number of points, including this issue, but perhaps it would be easier if we go to 2424. 2424 is the charge sheet, which starts at 2418, same file. That's the start of the charge sheet. And at 2424, page 2424, you have a chapter there headed the appointment of accused 7. We know accused 7 is Mrs. Mukwele, as section head of the Technical Support Services, TSS, Crime Intelligence, CI, head office at the level of brigadier post number. You provide the number. At sub 1, you start by mentioning that TSS is a National Covert Operations Unit located in CI and is highly specialized. At sub 2, you say it was advertised on that particular date. Then you reference the national instruction at 12.4, item 4. You state the selection panel was chosen by accused 1, and it comprised of accused 1 as the chairperson, and the other panel members were accused 2, 3, 4, and 5. You see that?
Correct.
That is incorrect.
Correct.
That is incorrect. It wasn't chosen by General Khumalo. The panel here. You are suggesting that the panel that interviewed these candidates was chosen by General Khumalo. We have just established that it was recommended, perhaps by General Khumalo, for approval by the higher authorities and was approved. So that statement there is misleading. Will you accept that?
In my 12.4, the panel was chosen by accused 1. It was chosen by accused 1.
Okay.
Meaning that comes from the recommendation part of it. Yes.
You just omitted.
That was chosen by General Khumalo, but it still has to be approved by head office, which is the prescripts, as Commissioner Molloy explained. The panel was chosen by him at that level.
Okay.
But do you accept that it's misleading to have put it that way? Because a reader of that paragraph understands only that General Khumalo constituted this panel and he presided over it. That's a misleading statement, because if you had intended to be fully transparent about it, you would have said it was recommended and it was approved by his superiors. You didn't. It's a misleading statement. Do you accept that?
Noted, Commissioner.
And just to confirm, nowhere in this charge sheet do you speak of that panel being approved. That somehow is omitted in this charge sheet.
Can you...
Oversight, perhaps, or whatever. I just want to establish as a fact that it is not there. The approval is not referenced here in the charge sheet at all.
The approval is not referenced here.
Okay. Then we go to 12.5. Accused 5 was not based in the CI environment, and accused 5, for the record, is Gabela. So he was not based in CI environment, and at that time, there were at least 6 other major generals based within CI, in parentheses, provincial heads CI, which included Major General Khan, who was based at the CI head office. That's what you state.
Yes.
Now, I referred you to this part of the charge sheet, which you drew up, presumably, or at least you approved, so you present to court. You present this charge sheet to court in the terms that it states. It's under your affidavit.
Just want to correct you.
Yes.
You said, I drew up the charge sheet.
Yeah. It's assumption on my part.
The prosecutors are responsible for drawing up the charge sheet.
You presented it to court in arguing for the issue of a warrant. So you made... Sorry,
I apologize. It's semantics, because you give the prosecutors this fact. Where would the prosecutor get 12.4 and 12.5? Where would the prosecutor get these facts that are put in 12.4 and 12.5 of the charge sheet?
That's correct, Commissioner.
They come from you.
I hear you.
Yes.
But the word is, I drew up the charge sheet. So we're correcting that.
Colonel, it's semantics. You give him the facts, he draws it up. It's like me when I say to my PA, type this for me, and they type. They don't know the facts, they type. So here he draws it up because you gave him these facts. He did not make them up. They don't come from him. They come from you as the IO.
Noted, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Khumalo. And I drew you to this document because you were a part of its creation. Alternatively, you approved it, and I say that in a very, not in the strictest sense, but you made common cause with it, enough to present it to a court of law in support of your application or an application based on an affidavit you deposed to for the issue of the warrants. So you have to accept responsibility for this, whether in its creation or presenting to court to argue for the issue of the warrants. There can't be a challenge. It's your affidavit. It's your annexure. Can you accept that?
Noted, Counsel.
Okay. No, noted is not very helpful because I don't know if you agree, you disagree, or Swiss air, I don't know. Do you take some level of responsibility for the facts placed before the court?
I say noted, Commissioner. And the reason why I say noted is that I still got to appear with the same affidavit before a criminal court. So I'm saying noted.
So if you're still to appear, it's already on record.
So,
You can't change.
We want to know where you stand on the facts, Colonel.
yes, I'm saying noted on it, Chair, and that's the furthest I'm going to take
That
it.
sounds evasive.
Chair,
That sounds evasive.
Chair, I'm not going to take it further than to just say noted.
I'm going to ask the question differently, and hopefully we get an answer. In the IDAC, when you have told us that this is drafted by the prosecutor, it's prepared by the prosecutor, you said, and then you say you've accepted that it's based on information that you give. In your internal processes, what happens? How does this get approved? Does it go through, does the chief investigating officer get a look at the charge sheet before it goes out? Does the head of institution, Advocate Johnson, do they look at this before it goes out?
Yes, the prosecutors draft the charge sheet. Mm-hmm. The charge sheet is presented to the deputy, and from there it goes to the head of office and the management from their process,
Okay.
as I explained. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You remember we took this circuitous route to try and assist you in answering a question Commissioner Baloyi had put to you. And the question was, what business does IDAC have in approaching a court on the basis that, as in this instant, crime intelligence constituted a panel one way or the other and did not include a specific person? That was the question. And to show to you that that is actually the issue that was put before court. So perhaps you may answer Commissioner Baloyi.
On the charge sheet with regards to Khumalo appointed the panel.
Why was it IDAC's business, the fact that General Khan was not part, for instance, of that panel?
It's not part of the business, or IDAC. Why was it IDAC's business? It's an investigation where we are saying business. The business part of it is something else. The Khumalo chose the panel, and we bring it to attention as we're showing a part that he played in the initial process. If I can explain it better that way, with regards to the remaining steps of the eventual appointment of Mokwele. I'm not saying there's no way here that I say he approved the panel. He chose the panel. So that's one of the starting steps of it. Although the panels, when they get approved, not by him, it gets approved by national. But the starting point is that he chose the panel. So that's just one part of the remaining irregularities, or whatever you want to call it, to the bigger picture which flows from there.
So you insist that it's an irregularity?
I'm using that.
You insist that the constitution of the panel was irregular? Because you're now saying it's one of the irregularities in the big picture. So sitting here today, having seen the approvals, do you still insist that the panel was irregularly appointed?
Can I respond, Commissioner?
Can you just say yes or no, please, Colonel? It will save us a lot of time, and I know you are stressed. You said you've been here for the whole week now. Either the panel was irregularly constituted or it was regularly constituted. It's really that simple. So to keep going back and say he chose it, he recommended it, somebody else approved it, Those facts are already in. We have those facts already. Knowing all those facts, do you still insist that the panel was irregularly constituted, yes or no?
South Africa has woken up to another dramatic chapter in one of the country's biggest public inquiries. And this latest development is leaving many people watching every word coming out of the Madlanga Commission. What happened inside that hearing surprised many. Advocate Andrea Johnson, the head of the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption, walked into the commission knowing she would face difficult questions. But what followed was even more intense than many expected. The commissioners wasted no time. They wanted answers, they wanted explanations, and they wanted to understand exactly how some of the biggest decisions taken by IDAC were made. Right from the beginning, it was clear this was not going to be an ordinary day. Every answer seemed to lead to another question. Every explanation opened another door, and the hearing became more dramatic as the hours passed. Stay with me because what happened later during the hearing could have major consequences for the ongoing investigation. Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga and the legal team carefully examined the decisions made by IDAC in relation to investigations involving crime intelligence officials. The Commission has been trying to establish whether proper legal procedures were followed and whether the Directorate acted within its powers. As the questioning continued, Johnson admitted that her office had made an error when deciding that one of the corruption matters fell within IDAC's legal mandate. That admission immediately changed the atmosphere inside the hearing. For a few moments, everyone seemed to realize the importance of what had just been said. Because if an investigation begins on the wrong legal foundation, many people naturally begin asking what that could mean for everything that followed. That became one of the biggest talking points during the day's proceedings. But that was only the beginning. The commissioners continued asking whether IDAC had gone too far in pursuing certain investigations. They questioned whether enough legal authority existed before important investigative steps were taken. Johnson defended several of her decisions. On other issues, she disagreed with the way questions were framed. Yet there were also moments where she chose not to comment on certain allegations raised before the commission. Those moments created even more suspense, because every time a difficult question was asked, viewers inside the hearing waited to hear what answer would come next. If you're enjoying this update and want more simple, balanced political news explained clearly, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. We follow every important development so you don't miss anything. Now here's where the story becomes even more interesting. What's another issue that received significant attention involved an affidavit connected to Member of Parliament Fadil Adams. The Commission wanted to know exactly how that complaint was obtained. Johnson maintained that IDAC does not solicit complaints. Everything evidence presented before the Commission suggested investigators had indicated that a particular affidavit would be needed before the matter could proceed. That exchange quickly became another major focus of the hearing. The commissioners kept returning to one simple question. Was everything done according to the law, or were mistakes made along the way? Those are the questions this commission is trying to answer. As the hearing continued, Johnson also addressed investigations involving senior crime intelligence officials. She rejected suggestions that one of the arrests had been carried out because of internal political battles or because of work linked to another police task team. According to her testimony, the investigation followed its own course based on information available to IDAC. Even so, many difficult questions remained unanswered. The commissioners wanted more details. They wanted timelines. They wanted to understand who approved certain decisions. And they wanted to know whether established legal procedures had been followed at every stage. Each answer seemed to raise another question. Each explanation added another layer to an already complicated story. Then another important development entered the picture. The newly established office of the IDAC oversight judge confirmed that it has received multiple complaints concerning Andrea Johnson. The office emphasized that receiving complaints does not mean anyone has been found guilty or that wrongdoing has been established. It simply means the complaints will now be assessed through the appropriate legal process. Even so, that announcement added even more attention to an inquiry that was already making national headlines. Many South Africans are now watching closely because this is about more than one individual. It is about confidence in institutions that investigate corruption. It is about accountability. It is about whether public institutions follow the same rules they expect everyone else to follow. And that is why every new hearing attracts so much attention. Something else also caught many observers by surprise. Johnson acknowledged that earlier statements she had made regarding aspects of the crime intelligence investigation required correction, including concessions made during questioning before the commission. Those admissions immediately became one of the most discussed moments of the hearing because they touched directly on the credibility of important investigative decisions. Meanwhile, Justice Madlanga remained focused throughout the proceedings. His approach was careful, his questions were direct. He repeatedly sought clarity instead of speculation. The Commission's role is not to decide guilt during these hearings, but to examine evidence and establish what happened before reaching its conclusions. As this story continues, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. The Madlanga Commission is entering a critical stage. Every witness, every document, every answer, every admission, all of it could influence the Commission's final findings. That is why many people across South Africa continue following these hearings day after day. No one knows exactly what future witnesses will reveal. No one knows whether more documents will emerge, and no one yet knows what conclusions the Commission will eventually reach. One thing is certain. The questions are becoming tougher, the scrutiny is becoming stronger, and the pressure on everyone involved continues to grow.